Well, good morning, my friend, and welcome to the Pastor's Podcast. It is Tuesday morning, September the 30th, last day of September. And I hope that you've had a good month in September. I have certainly, God's been really good to me this month. Many souls have been able to lead to Christ this month. People coming to church, following the Lord in believers' baptism, and just watching God do a great work in the hearts of people and answered prayers that God's given us, vision, a greater vision God's given to me. Just a lot of things happening this month, and I'm looking now forward to the month of October as our church is getting ready to start our campaign on our best. 4 weeks, our best. Give your best to God. That's what we're asking God to give us. If we will give our best, we're asking Him to give us our best campaign, our best in souls saved, our best in baptisms, our best in visitors attended. Our best in church attendance, our best in offerings, our best in everything that we do. That's what we're asking for. And so, church, let's be faithful. Now, in order for us to do our best, that means we need to be to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Let's give God our best. I promise you this, you can't outgive God. So if I give God my best, He's going to make sure He gives me above what I've given to Him. And that's the least that we can do. And so I would encourage everyone, let's be faithful to church. And certainly God will bless that. Had a good day out yesterday, soul winning with my son-in-law in the afternoon, and then the evening, one of the young men from our church. And we were able to see people saved last night, and that was exciting. Always good to be able to go out soul winning and watch people get saved. Well, today, I want to read to you, if I can, from Acts chapter 5 and verse 39. The scripture says, "But if it be of God, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply be found even to fight against God." The council had commanded Peter not to speak in the name of Christ, but his response was to obey God rather than men. Now, the Pharisees wanted him silent so much that they not only wanted him in prison, but they wanted him dead. That's a pretty bad crowd. Now, Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, wisely counseled these men, and he says, let's give them a little space of grace to see what would become of what they taught. Gamaliel knew that he understood if this work was of God, then they would be fighting against God. And he counseled these men to instead let God be the great judge to expose who is right or who is wrong. And may I say, God did. Now, in the early year of my ministry, I found myself in a great battle. I went to an older preacher who had a large ministry, had a preacher come and attack me and say false things about me. And I was just starting off in the ministry, and this preacher who was saying things against me, he was pretty well known at the time. And I asked this older preacher who had gone to, and I asked his counsel about what should I do. Now, this man knew about my battle, and he knew what the other side was trying to do against me and what they said against me. But his counsel helped me to know what I needed to do. This is what he said. "Brother Donnelly, I don't know if you're right or if the other side is right, but I do know that time always reveals who is right." Now, this man was saying what Gamaliel said. He was saying that he would not fight against either side. He said, what he was saying is, I'm not taking sides. He says, because if I choose to be, if I choose to be on one side and it was wrong, then he would find himself fighting against God. So instead, this man chose to let God reveal who was right in time, and God did. May I tell you, too many people have jumped on the wrong side of a battle to destroy someone or to let their mindset toward that person be tainted, only to find out that they were fighting against God. There have been many a times I've had to take battles, and I've lost friends, people that said they were my friend. Don't even talk to me anymore. Just crazy. And in every battle I have faced and every battle I've entered into up to this point, I was right. Time revealed I was right. And yet these who left, nowhere to be found. They were fighting for the wrong side, so they've ended up on the wrong side, and now they've got to swallow some pride, which most will not do. Now, let me share a couple of thoughts on how we can handle situations when these battles come, maybe between two men of God, between two families in a church, between friend and friend, between someone on the job. Okay, what do I do when I find myself? So I don't want to find myself fighting against God. Let me tell you some things to do. Three things. First, you don't have to make a decision who is right or wrong. When the truth is not clear, it would be best not to make a decision about a person or a situation. Now, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Just because someone says, well, I've got the goods, okay, so they have the goods. Have you heard the other side of the story? And I have had people ask me about situations. My response is, that's not my area to care for. I don't know anything about it. Now, I may have my thoughts, but I don't need to have my thoughts. Understand, I don't have to make a decision what is right and wrong. I refuse to allow others to dictate my decision who is right and wrong. I would rather let time be the revealer of right and wrong. Second, don't involve yourself in something that is not in your area. When the battle does not affect your local church, it is best not to get involved. This is one of the biggest problems that we're facing today, is that these men with their podcasts and with their books and with their hate are trying to, they're trying to make they're trying to make a denomination. We're not a denomination. Local Independent Baptists, get this now, we're not a movement, we're a local church. So what one local church does, really, it's not, I don't have to make the decision because it's not my area. Just because someone comes out and says, you got to make a decision. No, I don't have to make a decision. The fact that you say that, you've already got me on the other side because, and I want to stay on this side because the fact you're demanding that I do what you say as if you're God, I'm not going to do that. Understand, I believe in the local church. And I believe what happens in the local church ought to stay in the local church. Let that local church deal with it. God deals with the local church. He does not deal with things on a national scene. And too many times we have these national battles. And don't get me wrong. I've fought some battles, and they've become a national battle. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I am saying this: that when something involves a local church, I don't need to get involved in it. Neither do you. You see, because if you choose to fight something that does not involve your local church, you're going to find yourself fighting against God because God's for the local church. What one preacher says about another church that we don't even know anything about, it's best for us not to be involved. Now, when it becomes a national thing and it's obvious and it's right there, it's in front of you, you see what they're doing. It's against the doctrines of the Word of God. Now, hold on. I make a personal stand. Get this now. And if they're trying to reach into my church with their Bible college, I want to make a national, because now they're affecting my church, if you understand that. But if they're not affecting my church, it's not my area. And I'm just saying this. I'm saying there's a lot of guys who are demanding you make a decision. You're your own local church. You don't have to. If it's their church and not yours, you don't have to. You know why? Because that's not my area. And you're going to find yourself fighting against God. So you don't have to make a decision who is right and wrong. And you don't have to involve yourself in something that is not in your area. And third, don't let one battle taint your opinion about a man of God. So too many people have allowed battles to form an opinion of a preacher, and their opinion kept them from allowing that preacher to help them in the future. Now, do you realize that Paul and Peter had a public disagreement? Now, what if you allowed this public disagreement cause you to have an opinion against Paul or against Peter? Well, if that was the case, you wouldn't read the Pauline epistles if you're against Paul, or you wouldn't read Peter's epistle if you're against Peter. Now, both those men were helpful. You'd find yourself fighting against God because God used both men. Now, understand, men are going to have battles. This has been going on, good night, since the church, been going on my entire life. And sometimes I'm just not going to allow somebody else's battle with another man, get this now, make me to make an opinion about a good friend. Understand, now, if that good friend is compromising, I pull away. I'm still friendly, but I just pull away. Understand, get this now, I don't want somebody else to taint my opinion about a man of God. Time always tells who is right and wrong. So the best thing that you can do when attacks come your way, stay busy, going soul winning. Keep your nose into your own ministry and build your own ministry. Let time be the judge, and what you'll find yourself doing is you'll find yourself if you'll do these things, you'll find yourself not being on the wrong side. Understand, as long as we live, men of God are going to have quarrels against it because we're men. At best, we're men. But I've learned that time always tells. When someone says I have to, and by the way, I'll say this, my opinion for years, and I was telling my church this, one of my principles for years is I always stand on the side of the attack. I believe in innocence until proven guilty. Just because someone says someone's guilty doesn't make them guilty. I'm even going to go a step further. And I know this will hair lip some people. Just because a prosecutor has gotten someone to take a plea deal doesn't mean they're guilty. Until you've been down that road and you have that pressure on you, you won't understand the pressure that is there for somebody, because they're either taking this lesser plea deal that maybe keeps them out of jail, then instead of going to court against a prosecutor that has endless resources, and your resources are not endless. And at some point, when you don't have any money, your attorney is done defending you. Now, what are you going to do? Now the plea deal is dropped. And a lot of people just don't understand this about the prosecuting side. And we need to. You listen to me. Some things I just don't need to make a decision about. And there's been innocent people who have had to pay their price, even gone to jail, who had to take a plea deal, because if not, they may be in prison for life if they're found guilty. And just the fact that the aura of our day may be against just an accusation, and you may not have a chance if you go to court just because of what's going on, what the news media pushes, and what they make you think. So you have to understand, I don't have to involve myself in every battle. I don't have to let somebody else taint my mind and my heart. And listen to me, and I also don't have to let somebody else taint whether I'm going to have someone in my church or not. If they're going to make that decision, I'll stop having them and I'll have the one that they don't want me to have. You know why? Because I am not going to be pressured in by somebody else who is a hate monger and a control freak that wants to lead everybody. I have learned this about great men. Great men don't tell you what to do in your church, and they will still be your friend. Now, they may make some choices, and that may be fine. But I'm going to learn one thing. I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to stay close to God. I'm going to keep my nose in my own business, do what's right, and I'll find this out. Time always tells. And if I just hold back, time is going to tell me who is right and who is wrong. And at the end of the day, I want to be on the side of right. So sometimes I just defend the innocent until proven guilty. I don't involve myself in things. I just keep doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't let others force me into making opinions about another man of God that I respect and love. And I let time do its work. And eventually I'll find out who's right and who's wrong. I've said this, and I'll say it again. I'd rather be on the side. I'd rather believe in someone's innocence and be found wrong than to believe in someone's guilt and be found wrong. You say, why? Because at least if I believe in someone's innocence and they're guilty, okay, I believed in the goodness of them. And the worst thing, they're guilty. So I believed in their innocence. That's what we all want. But if I believe in someone's guilt and they're innocent, now I've hurt someone's name. And now I've got some things I need to care for if I get down that road. My friend, let's take these principles, let's apply them. And I think what we'll find, if we'll apply them, we can save ourselves from a lot of heartache, from having to make decisions about battles going on in society. Well, my friend, I hope this is a great help to you today. Now let's remember today, be good to everyone